How you doing today? Pastor Steve again. We're looking at the book of Romans, and today we're going to be looking at Romans 6 and 7. So much to see. This, these two chapters, and in addition, which we'll cover tomorrow, which is Romans 8, are life-changing. These are the passages that talk about, all right, if I've come to faith, then how do I have the strength to overcome sin, temptation, being things I don't want to be? How does that happen? And it happens by meditating and knowing the answers of who you are now in Christ and the power that's available to you. The complete mind shift that has happened to those who are followers of Jesus. In Romans 6, it's this amazing question that he asks. He basically says, wait a minute, if the gospel's true and my sins have been forgiven, past, present, and future, why wouldn't I just keep going on sinning? And Paul's answer is beautiful. He doesn't say, because that would make you a dirty, rotten person, you terrible human being. He doesn't say that. Instead, he says, we died to sin. How can we live in it any longer? In other words, we're not created for sin. We're created to follow God. It's the best way of life. It's not like a little bit like, oh, I guess I have to follow the rules and I guess it'll. No, 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 no. I don't have to. I'm not obligated to. I get to. I get to because of the power that's in me through Jesus Christ. So really enjoy chapter 6, 1 to 14. It's beautiful. And then he goes on to say it's even more than that. God has so moved in your life, and you actually right now are owned by God in a new way. And so therefore, there's something deep within inside you. His Spirit has done something inside of you that has changed you so that you want to follow God. It's not that I have to. I don't have to. I get to. I get to. Chapter 7 then is just beautiful, and there's a lot of deep theology in chapter 7. Again, I've told you, I think on every episode, if you want to go into the deep theology, you can listen to my podcast, Romans Untangled. We'll get to Romans 7 sometime this season, in season 2 of my podcast. But he goes on and he gives an analogy for marriage, which talks about we are no longer bound by this law, so that we have to be found okay by what we do. That when we come to Christ, when we're coming and we're in Christ, in His resurrection, in His death and resurrection. Therefore, it's been changed, and now we're judged just on the life of Jesus. And therefore, he goes on to say, that's what happened to us. If you look at chapter 7, and then he gives this beautiful thing that talks about what it's still like to struggle with sin. It's from chapter 7, verse 7, all the way through the end of this. The Apostle Paul, who I highly regard, talks about his journey and saying, this is what it's like to still wrestle with sin, but I know that God is stronger still. So really, really dive into and enjoy these chapters. We'll see you tomorrow as we look at chapter 8.